Google Search and Maps by Grow with Google. I'm Matt Weber, a national supported trainer with the Grow with Google program, which means I typically travel the country and help small and medium-sized businesses with improving their digital strategy. Now, today we're going to talk about using the largest online business directory in the United States, Google My Business. And our word of the day for today's presentation is salmon. Right, exactly, salmon. Because when we think about clients and prospects and consumers on the internet, they are the exact opposite of salmon. They do not swim upstream. In fact, it's entirely opposite. In fact, as marketers, we have to take away the things that are helping get in their way from what they're trying to achieve in order to get more of those prospects to swim over to us. And their first interaction with your business is a lot of times on a directory like Get Your Business on Google Search and Maps. So today we're going to talk about how to use that first interaction, that first impression to help introduce more online. So specifically, we're going to talk about what is a business profile on, how to create a business profile on Google if you haven't already done that already, and then look at how to manage business information on that business profile. And in particular, even people who have had their profile for years aren't using and aren't. What we'll do is we'll go into Google My Business and show you the 3 different tools. And then we'll close the program by giving you some resources where if you want to expand your training, then go just a little further. Sound like a lot? Well, don't worry, because who has got this all sewn up.
My name is Vince. This is my shop. I opened Village Tailor and Cleaners in. I arrived in New York 4 years earlier from Italy. My mom and my dad. My mother taught me how to sew. When I opened, the person I hired was my mother. The store mascot. My little advertisement. As a business owner, you're always thinking, how can you do better? I noticed that in one hand and the phone on the other, always looking up information. So I started the store online. Google lets me decide. I pick photos, I can post special hours, anything. I made this website in 10 minutes using the website builder. And I'm not in, and I'm always asking, how did you find us? They used to say, I came. Now they say, Google. Believe it or not, we're up 30%. Doing enough business, I had to hire more tailors and get some new machines. And my son Vincent Jr. is running one of them, the Village Cobbler. In an old-fashioned profession, I work with my hands. I hadn't thought much about it. Now, I couldn't be happier. Village Tailor, 40 years. Go.
What a great story. Sad story is it looks like Google put Bruno out of a job. But let's see how to do that, and let's take a further look at what is a business profile on Google. We can use these, but let's break down the specific parts. So on any business profile, it's typically going to have these main components, although remember, Google is rolling out all the time. So users are going to see photos and videos, which we're going to talk quite a bit about, their business's name, and then it defaults to this overview section where they can sections, they can share this with other people and get to your website. They can also quickly use a bit about reviews coming up, see your location, and look at your hours. Of the people that look for a local business online are looking for your hours. pretty interesting, and people have noted that up-to-date business profiles are 2 points more to be considered reputable. Now, reputable is good, but and up-to-date profiles are 70% more likely to attract location visits, 50% more likely to lead to a purchase. So think of this the same or a store, and you look in the store window and you kind of see things that are maybe out of sight, or you've seen an ad that promotes a holiday that has passed, right? Consumers the of these advertisements, and when they don't get a positive feeling about that, then they don't in the business. Now, the good thing about Google My Business is that Google's going to do a lot for you. It's going to take the content that you put in, and it's going to morph it and change it depending on the device requesting it. In fact, if you look at your screen very quickly and very deep, see that the information being offered in each of those cases, tablet, desktop, and mobile, is just different, because Google knows that people on a tablet are typically looking for different things, etc. So to get started, you may see an Own This Business on My Business profile, and that may mean that it's not claimed. We're in today's session how to claim it, and if you don't see a business profile, create it from scratch. So let's start creating that business profile. I'll begin at google.com/business. If you've already claimed your business profile and you are logged in browser with the same email address that you used to create your Google My Business profile, you're going immediately to your profile. You will not see what you see on the screen. If you don't have a profile for your business, or there's one out there that you haven't claimed, you're going to see. I want to step back for just a second and remind everybody that to do everything today, you do need a Google account. Now, any email is a Google account, but a Gmail address is our account. And I'll give you a super special bonus tip here. Create in the name of your business, not in the name of yourself. So for example, you your name at gmail.com. What happens when I work with a lot of businesses, if they need assistance with anything like this, then they give me their personal address that they use to create their Google My Business profile. Well, if I have their personal Gmail address, I get things that I shouldn't have access to and see things that maybe I shouldn't see. All of that and create an address that is unique to the marketing elements of your business and not any one individual. So assuming for a minute that you don't have a created and claimed, and you didn't go right to it when you went to Google.com, then you'll get to a page that looks like this, and you'll begin typing in this. And one of two things is potentially going to happen. You may actually see the full name, or you may not. Now, if you do, click on it. It's a couple of steps ahead in this process because you're going to be confirming some information. Now, how is it possible that you could have a Google My Business if you didn't create one? Well, it's possible because Google does what Google runs around the internet, indexes information, finds consistent information, and creates a profile on Google My Business, even though the business is just waiting for someone to claim it. So at that point, if that happens to you, see pop up, you're just going to confirm the name of the business and confirm that it's spelled correct. Remember, the business has to match the legal name of the business and not a nickname, a name in which potentially you've put a geographic indicator in there when they're really records of the business. Then the next thing that's going to happen is you'll be asked to select a bunch of them in this list, but there may not be one that matches your business. I was teaching this class in Maine just before COVID hit, and a significant disappointment that the right category for her business was this. And I said, "Oh, well, what do you do?" And she said she sells gluten food for older dogs, and there wasn't a category that matched that. They don't get that finite, but you're going to find one that's really close and talk about how to make sure something specific like your pet food is gluten-free can display in your listing by using other parts of the Google My. Okay, now here's the toughest part of all of today's program. So if this and your Amazon Prime driver is driving up and pulling up to your house, ignore that. Right here is the single place where most people get tripped up on Google My Business. You see two types of businesses as Google My Business describes it. There are businesses you can come to and visit, like coffee shops, shoe repair shops. There's that deliver goods and services to customers at their home or their business. Or air conditioning repair companies, they come to your home to do that. The question of you on this screen is if you want to add a location, because people come. So there's a portion of people that run businesses, they have a home address or pictures of their home on the internet. Then it's very important that they click on this screen. So on this screen, you click yes if you have a physical people come to, and you click no if you do not have a physical, and you deliver your goods and services to people. And in just a second, we're going to show you how to deliver to. So you'll enter the complete and official address. You need an address, even if you don't want it to show, because this is where some information comes. If you clicked no on the previous screen, this address does not display on your business profile. Now, even if you do have people in almost any restaurant today, but you still deliver, you might still want to. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you see what it looks like if you said yes. And it says, well, great, but do you also have a service area that you to? And then on the right-hand side of the screen, if you click no, it says, well, what's your service? If people don't come to you, you go to them. What is that service area? And you can pick postal code and you can pick a county. If you are attending the program and you've done formally, you could pick a radius, but that option isn't available anymore. You're going to put in your phone number and you're going to put in your website. Now, this last step, that you are empowered to make decisions for this business and you're accepting all the responsibilities of the decision that you made. So you click finish, and now we have to verify it. And most businesses are postcard verification. And that's where that address comes in, because that is where this postcard is going to go to. And then you'll click mail, and that will come in about 5 days. Could take, and it's many businesses I help with this. One of the key things to do is to alert the company the postcard is coming, because the person who handles your mail may not be aware of the mail, and it honestly doesn't look all that important from the outside. Make sure that everybody knows this is coming, so that gets in your hand, because you only have a fixed amount of time to go back to google.com/business and input this verification code. Now, in the meantime, while all this is pending, you can still be editing and adding information to your Google My Business profile. It just doesn't display to the public. So you can add, for example, different services that you offer, and you can write a business. You can do all of this while it's pending, including quite a bit about photos coming up. So you can continue to work on it. Then you put that verification number, and then once you put in that verification number, now this is what your dashboard is going to look like. And if you were pending waiting verification, warning right up here that would say, this is awaiting verification right here. Set up, let's talk about how to manage some of this information. And so when your business listing is verified, this is what it's going to look like. And you can edit some of it right from this dashboard in there. Now, if you're logged with the same email address that you used to create the Google, you can also edit the information from the what we call front side or consumer facing side. You don't even have to log into the dashboard. You don't have to log in at all. You don't have to use the app. You, as the owner of the Google My Business profile, and only you see this, you've got options there to edit some limited amount of information right from the front or consumer facing side of that. So let's take a quick tour of Google My Business and all the specific parts that are inside that you can take advantage of to promote your business.
We opened Celsius with the idea to create a that people actually wanted to hang out in. When New York issued its state offs only, we switched to online booking through our Google profile times for essential workers. We love our community and just wanted to help.
So you can get a sense that in today's COVID world, these Google My Business profile become even more important, and being able to change them to different becomes extremely important. So once you get into your Google, you get your business name and category, and this is a great example of why Google My Business get it medium, because these categories are changing and there's new ones and can get added. Add to 10 categories. The first one in that list is considered your primary category. Now you can't create your own category, and it's okay if the specific one isn't there. You can get specific by what you put into your description, what attributes, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now that location area, you can edit that. That's very easy. And you can also change. Remember that statistic at the very beginning of the program that 40% of searchers are for somebody's hours. And in terms of being able to understand why do some more on maps than others, one of the key determinants is whether or not Google does not want to send you and I to businesses that are closed in my business profile and they're not updating the hours. That's a signal to Google information that they want to share with users. Now, not only can you put in your pre-populate your holidays all the way through the end of the year. Now, that's called more hours. So if you have specific hours for delivery than when the restaurant's open, or if you have hours for the world, you can put up very complex, different hour box by clicking on more hours. And every single day, a little notice in your business profile that will show that your additional hours have been updated. So a great, powerful tool to make sure that everybody knows what each aspect of your business has. A relatively new feature for Google is to create a short name, or what some people call a vanity name. Your Google My Business profile is becoming more online marketing efforts. So if you want to tell people how to get this profile, it's kind of awkward until you had this new ability to create a short name. And you'll see that as the third option down into your profile. It's under the info tab on that. And you can claim a short name. And once you claim this vanity name or short name, then you can just tell people, hey, go to g.page/whatever name you've claimed. So if I had a specialty meatball business called Matt's Meatballs, and I wanted people to go to my Google My Business page, I would say, yeah, g.page/Matt's Meatballs. And then it would be my business page. And so if you've got specials being promoted on your Google My Business, put those in the hands of people who might be looking for them. And of course, you add your website and phone number to make that sure that's always up to date. Additional attributes can give users a more detailed view of what this is about and some special characteristics of it. And now these are going to change by category. So if a restaurant, I might see something different than if you chose the category of bike. Attributes are Black-owned, minority-led, family-led, wheelchair-friendly, all kinds of. Where this list of attributes come from, you guessed it, what people typically. Google's data shows that this is something significant that people search for, and whether or not to click on a listing, then Google starts adding these to those attribute sections. In your business description, don't forget about those all-important keywords. Between the keywords that you use in your Google My Business profile or in your website, when those all start meshing together a little bit, holistic effects in addition to just the individual effects. We're talking to consumers and not search engines, but it does help to not only use the word you search for what you do, but also the words that you're targeting, perhaps in your organization. If your business is not open yet, you can put in 90 days away. And if your business has been open for some time, you could put that opened. And this helps Google not only cross-index some information in places, but it also is a great signal for users, right? People want to a while, so they are often very interested in the date that the business opened. It's an exciting innovation inside Google My Business. The Bookings tab is over 24 different third-party applications. Now, our word for this program is salmon, because consumers don't swim. They're fundamentally lazy, and we want to remove all the friction that we can. So businesses both take online bookings, and maybe they're a massage parlor or it even wants you to schedule an appointment online. And one of those does booking through their Google My Business profile, and one of them does. Eliminated a number of clicks and a number of things to think about for the consumer. That consumer journey, and that's going to pay off for that advertiser. Integrated online booking. Well, that means we got to hope that that prospect is click on the website button, maybe read a few more pages, and maybe maybe that'll work. But here's what we know for sure. We know that time you use a step that a consumer has to take to engage with you, you're consumer thing. So you can find a list of all the third parties with at google.com/reserve. And you'll find some very big names, some popular names that you just a couple click integration away from being integrated to your Google My Business program. People are one button away from setting an appointment with you. Now, if you don't, maybe your website has a get an appointment link on it. Maybe that's a separate form, and maybe that appointment form has its own URL. You can put that URL into this appointment link so that when people are looking at your GMB profile from the front side, your Google My Business profile, they'll see two options. They'll see go to the web and they'll see make an appointment. And if they click on make an appointment, it'll take them, they can make an appointment. And remember, the more we shorten the amount of steps that the better we're going to do. You can create posts. My business posts are very similar to posts that you might do in other text. These can be graphics. These can even be videos. They automatically expires. And certain eligible categories with links in there. And certain eligible categories, you can have your donation page. So how are companies using business? Well, a lot of them are doing it just to announce something that's new. Maybe they've changed their new person working at the organization. Certainly a lot of people are using it. And there are specific offer type posts. And there are post types for events on that. These posts are influencing potential customers, and you can see how these in your Google My Business dashboard. This is super easy to use. You just have to make sure that you've got a minimum of 400 to 300 pixels for any of the graphics you want to put in there, and nothing more than a 25 megabyte size for any photos that you upload. So it's easy to use. A couple clicks and you can have a wonderful advertisement running in your Google. You know, for me, if someone gives free digital valuable real estate, Google My Business, the most widely used business directory on the internet. Well, if your use of social media has, I'm hoping that it's taught you that we have become a visual society. In fact, to succeed today, businesses must become skilled visual storytellers. Your own use of social media tells you that you have to reach out for photographs, perhaps you do. And when you look into website data, one of them will have less and less of an appetite to read text. So these photos that you put into your Google My Business profile can be in whether or not a prospect takes the next step to engage with your business. A lot of times when I'm traveling the country, I work with a lot of B2B businesses. Often they say, well, you know, we don't sell shoes and we don't sell bags and we're not a really visual. This is where you have to be a little creative, because even if you have, you should take a picture of it. If you have a particularly important document that's a precursor to some of your client relationships, take a picture of it. Keep photos. You will not be able to load too many photographs. What Graham said so many years ago, people attract people. Business, people want to see the people that they're going to. No matter what line of work you're in listening to this program today, you have to create compelling, persuasive messages with photos, not only in your Google My Business profile, but also elsewhere in your marketing too, but certainly in your Google My Business profile. Just a couple tips for getting good photos, of course. Use make sure they're in photo. Highlight the things that potentially people are looking for. Try to sneak in your. There's a lot of free programs that can allow you to put your logo on as a digital overlay there, so nobody else uses your image. And you can even add videos up. So use videos and photos effectively to convince people to do business. Now, somewhat new to Google My Business is the products tab. If you do want to feature specific products, you can upload them individually into your Google My Business profile, and they follow that up with an addition with a services tab, and you can put in a description of any particular services that you offer as well. You can create your own business website through your Google My Business profile. So if anybody is listening to today's program and perhaps you don't have a website or you're just starting, you can click that button at the very bottom that says website right here. And what that's going to do is walk you through about 7 steps that take in total about 5 minutes to create a website. And the reason it doesn't take a long time is because it's going to use a lot of the information that you've already input into your Google My Business profile. Your description, your location, your address, it's going to use all that. So you don't have to re-input all of that. You'll have some options to change things. You'll pick a template, which is a lot like maybe picking a theme for decorating a room. It'll establish some of the colors and some of the font styles. And then you can edit some of the come along with those templates. And within about 5 or 6 steps, you're ready to go. Now, when you do that, the website does come with a free slight. So let's say if I did this for my meatball business, my website URL meatballs.business.site. Really the tongue, does it? Hey, go to my website at mattsmeatballs.business. So you can still buy a domain. If you have a domain, you can buy one from Google. And you can point this website, or you can point that website to this website. So you can use this website builder and website like mattsmeatballs.com. If that's what you choose, you're simply going to redirect that domain through whatever domain account that you purchased that domain, whether you bought it through Google or you bought it through another reseller. So you've got a couple options there. If you didn't do that last step, it'll automatically come with that URL. If you want to add your own personal URL to this website, you can do that as well. Now, the single most frequently asked question I get when I travel the country or when I do programs like this online is, how do I delete a bad review? Well, unfortunately, there's no delete button on the internet. So you can't delete a bad review. But what you can do is respond to it. And that in and itself is key, because today's consumers don't revolt against a business just because it has a bad review. You see, today's consumers have long since figured out that there are just as many jerky consumers as there are jerky businesses. So they don't run at the sight of one negative review. In fact, there's one thing that's far, far, far more dangerous for any business than a negative review, and that's an unanswered negative review. You see, what consumers do is they look at these reviews, and in essence, they say, that's how this business cares about customers. That's how much this business devotes to customer satisfaction. So if they see a negative review and nobody's answered it, they say, well, this business doesn't devote anything to customer satisfaction. But if they see a negative review, which it's almost impossible for any business not to have, and they see that the business answered it and took an interest and said, well, I'm so sorry you had that experience. Here's a phone number or here's an email address where we can take this offline and see what we can do. Then they say, got it. That's a business that's interested in customer satisfaction. So in this reviews tab here is where you can respond to every view that comes in. And you want to respond to the good, the bad, and the ugly, respond to them all. And of course, never choose to get in a battle with an online reviewer, right? That's a battle you cannot win. So if somebody gives you a negative review and you don't think it's a fair one, then the best thing to do is just to say, answer with the facts that you have and invite them to use some other mechanism so that you can help solve it if a solution is available. But don't try to get into an argument online. You can also encourage people to leave a positive review by making the review available. And that used to be kind of hard to do. But now that we have those name shorteners, those vanity names, now we can tell people go to g.page/mattsmeatballs/review. And it takes them right to the part of your Google My Business profile where they can leave a review. Before this functionality was added, often a struggle for businesses to get people to just the right spot on the Google My Business profile to leave a review. And now we give them a direct link. They don't have to look around, they have to the exact spot. So that's another reason why you want to claim your short. It's just g.page/whatever short name you've review, takes people right to the tab to leave a review. I asked the question, how many of you listening to today's program have sent a text message in the last hour? I'm going to guess that all of your hands would go up. And so reflect for just a minute on what role text messaging plays in your life, right? It's almost become our national language. So why not let prospects text you through your Google My Business profile? So in the messaging tab, you can set this up, and there is an app for Google My Business, and you can find it in both the Apple Store and the Android Play Store. It is called Google My Business. And once you've downloaded that app and logged in using the same credentials that you used on your desktop computer to create the account, you can activate messaging. And the beauty of it is now there's no phone involved. They never see your phone number. So if somebody wants to message you, they click on that message button in your Google My Business profile. It shows up as a notification in your app, and you answer it like you're answering any other text you've gotten today. And it shows back up to them as a text message. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind, though, is you do set up a default message so that when someone messages you, they get a message back right away with a message of your choosing, so that if you're busy, they know that somebody's about to attend to them. And then if you don't respond to messages within 24 hours, Google may deactivate the feature automatically for you because, again, Google doesn't want to leave people unsatisfied. Now let's think about in the bigger picture why this is so important today in 2020. Because sometimes people are just looking for the answer to what I call a simple gateway question. Are you open right now? Do you carry this product? Do you do this service? Yes or no? And these are gateway type questions that allow them to walk to the next level to then investigate whether or not they're going to engage with your business. But if they can't get answers to these gateway type questions, well, then they just go somewhere else where they can get answers to these gateway questions. So remember, our word of the day is salmon. So don't make them try to swim upstream because customers and prospects don't. They're not like salmon. So they have to be able to get what they want as quickly as possible in order to stay on a path to engage with you. So connect up messaging through the app. Now we're about 3/4 of the way through the presentation, and maybe some of you are listening to this and saying, boy, this sounds like a lot of work. Well, it's not really. And the good news is you can get help. You can add people as users to your Google My Business profile. There's different roles that they can take on. There's the primary owner, that's you. There's co-owners who have every bit of authority and ability that you do, except they cannot delete the Google My Business profile. The managers have the same level of authority. They can also not add users, they can't delete the profile, and they can't transfer ownership of the profile. And then site managers have a more limited access to the business profile, and they can add photographs and they can change the hours, but it's highly limited what are the things they can do. So you don't have to do all of this by yourself. You can add people to your Google My Business profile in these roles, and it doesn't affect anything else that the account that owns the Google My Business profile has. So it doesn't mean they get access to the mail on that account, or it doesn't mean they get access to Google Analytics or Google Ads or any of those things. You're just assigning them a specific set of roles for Google My Business, and Google My Business only. I've got all this great information in. You've got a lot of people here to help you out. Now, one of the things that you can do is get some great information out of it. You can find out how people are finding your business. You can find out whether or not your Google My Business profile is showing up because people searched your brand name, or whether they searched a service or product that you do, or whether they were searching more broadly for the type of service that you do. And that's all really valuable information. And then once they found your profile, what did they do? Did they click on a phone number? Did they call? Did they click on directions to get there? All of that is information that you can find in a tab called Insights. In fact, I worked with a pizza company in New Jersey, and what they did before setting their weekly staffing schedule is they looked at the last weeks of data in Google My Business Insights to see what days and hours were their peak days and hours for phone calls for that prior week. And they made sure that that was parallel to how they were staffing the restaurant. You can also get the exact search queries that people typed in to trigger your Google My Business profile. Think about how valuable that is from a marketing standpoint. This is some of the best marketing research that you can get your hands on, is how do people communicate when they're looking for what you do? And once you get a handle on their words and you stop using your words and you start using their words, you're going to start increasing engagement. Your rank potentially could go up, and you're going to experience some more business, because consumers want what they want. In fact, if you have to think about what is one of the great pivoting points of digital media versus traditional media, it's the fact that it's less about what we want to say as businesses and far more about what consumers are looking for and how they talk than it is about what we want to describe. All right, we've covered a lot here today, but after the program, if you haven't already done it, some key steps are to go to google.com/business and either claim or complete your business profile, depending on what your status is. And again, some of you are going to go to google.com/business and get popped right into your business profile because you've claimed it and you're using a browser that has using the same password that you did to create your GMB profile. If you haven't, you're going to request your profile. Give it between 5 and 14 days. It'll have a code on it, and you put that code into where it says pending verification, and that will allow all the work that you've done to be seen by the public. In the meantime, you can continue to edit that profile and add information to it even before it's live and the world can see it. This first step on this slide is really important because I work with a lot of businesses that have created their Google My Business profile, and what they get out of this session is the insight that, oh, it should be updated, it can change. I think they underestimate the vitality of their Google My Business profile. And in a world that is changing as much as our world is right now, how can your Google My Business profile be static? Think about the change that small and medium-sized businesses have gone through the last few months. And your Google My Business profile is designed to adapt to that. So continually add new details, photos, videos, posts, change your hours. And as you're doing that, be collecting information from your Insights tab. You'll find out what people are really looking for so you can serve more of that up. And you'll find out when do you need additional resources. You'll find out when your product or service is in demand more than others. Now, if you want to take what we talked about today and carry it just a little bit further, there's some great resources that you can use. One of them is you can go to G.co Marketing Kit, and you can actually make great graphics from your reviews. You can pick templates, and from that, you can make table tents and you can make posters, all using the reviews that people have submitted to your GMB profile. There's a great app called Primer. It's available in both the Apple App Store and Google Play. And these are kind of digest, bite-sized versions of marketing lessons. I think these are fantastic. So if you have an extra 5 minutes where you're waiting for someone at a restaurant, or if you're on the treadmill and you want to pull out your phone, most of these lessons are between 6 and about 11 slides. And you'll be amazed at how much you can pick up in the world of digital marketing just by scrolling through a couple slides. And they cover a lot of topics from general marketing all the way down to the specifics of Google Ads, for example. Now, for a deeper dive and a more in-depth presentation of some of the material that Primer talks about, Grow with Google has a great YouTube channel, and you can find it at g.co/grow/quick help. And again, some really well done videos by masters in instructional design that are all somewhere in that 3 to 5 minute list of everything that you want to know about digital marketing for small businesses. And there's even more information at g.co/grow-on-air, where you're going to find more free virtual workshops that are more classroom-based instruction, more instructor-led, than whereas what you'll find on the YouTube channel are more kind of 3 to 5 minute great overviews of topics. And then if you want to go deeper still, you can go to g.co/grow-on-air. We've talked a lot about digital marketing, of course. That's what today's program is about. But if anybody in your social circle, your family needs additional help, there's even more resources at google.com/grow. There's resources there for teachers, students, job seekers, even developers. If you want to try your hand at writing code, there's some great resources to do that at google.com/grow. So I hope that you've learned a lot in today's presentation. And at the very least, I hope it excited you to learn more. And we've offered some fantastic places for you to go and continue that education. So this has been Grow with Google, getting your local business on Google Search and Maps. I'll take a look at the chat over here just in case somebody put in a question. And no questions, but I'll wait for just a couple seconds and see if anybody has any questions that I can answer. If not, I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and thank you for attending Grow with Google, get your local business on Google Search and Maps. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.